Hello. Hello, Snowy, Gemini, KV. How, how is everyone? Can you hear new sounds in the back? I set rains and fire crackling sounds. Or is it too much? I hope everyone's had a great day. I got my glasses attached to my hair. The house burning in the background is new. No, actually, I actually had fire sounds in the back since I started doing this, but it was muffled. It was muffled. So maybe I should turn it down if it's too much. There. Is this a bit better? Or maybe I should turn down fire. Is this a bit better? You know what else I can also turn on? Snowstorm, wind, lightning, birds, cicada, nihwanjik. Hello. It's perfect, okay. Yeah, I can turn them on and off. But yeah, maybe I'll just set it according to what the current weather is like. We don't ever get snowstorms though, so actually it's not raining right now, so I don't know. But I need to sneeze. I'm gonna mute myself with sneezes for these streams because it's too loud, too explosive. Yep. Done. Mwahaha. Mwahaha. I've been thinking, should we even be in ASMR category? Maybe we should be in just chatting category. You sneeze and echo last 15 minutes. That is true. That's why I turned it off. That's why I muted. I'm professional now. But should I be in ASMR or should I go to just chatting? And happy July. It's July for me already. I don't know. Maybe I should be in just chatting. Let me just search. There's a few reading channels here. Mute. Mute. Let's see. This person hasn't streamed in a while. This person does it under just chatting. I don't know. Should we move to just chatting then? I don't know what to do. That was We stay here until someone tells us to get out. That's what happens, yeah. Today, we're up to chapter... Hang on, let me move things around. We're up to chapter 16, I think. XVI 16, right? On Dorian Gray. There's a total of 20 chapters, so we're nearly done. Tomorrow might be our last Dorian chapter. Or tomorrow might be our last Dorian stream, but so far, we kind of watched Dorian go from this innocent childlike boy into this twisted murderer. So who knows? Who knows? But yeah, it's been a wild ride. We also have grim fairy tales. We might just slowly get through each story. What I would like to do doesn't need to be done. I guess like a little discussion. A little discussion post story after each story, because the grim stories are a little bit weird. They are weird. They are odd. They make you think. I'd like to think that they have. You hate Twitch? Why? Why do you hate Twitch, Zoinks? And hello, Zoinks? Why? Why do you hate it so much? Wait, my Twitch isn't connected to my bots. They didn't. Oh, mine's not letting me sign into my bot. I just realized. Why is it not? Time to troubleshoot. We still haven't found a normal grim story. There's also the Arabian Nights one. I don't have money to buy new ones. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh, hello. What is this behind me? Oh my. Oh my. I did validate my account many times. My bot isn't logging in to my accounts too many times. Oh, Ivy Gaming. Oh, it's really not connecting. Oh, hang on. One is connecting. Oh shit. It's not connecting. Oh no, what's happening? They're not connecting. Something's always gonna break, huh? My bot is connected. Come on. Uh-oh. Wait, my OBS isn't connecting to the chat. Oh no. I can't see. Oh. Oh, okay, hang on. There's a solid chunk that I missed. Hang on. Just as I said that we weren't getting dropped frames, this happens. Forgot I got a Prime sub, so now I'm sub. Ooh, nice. Hello, see Twitch sucks. All my homies hate Twitch. Yes, it's all shattering. It's all falling apart. Everything's falling apart. My bot's still. Oh no! Wait, I'm not connected now. Oh, come on. It's all falling apart. But yeah, do I belong? Oh, do I belong in ASMR or should I go to just chatting for this? It's also Wing's fault. No, last time it was Spooky. Spooky Fox. Hello, girl. Emotes. I was also one other thing that I was thinking of, because I have had thoughts of doing merch. Oh yes, everything's connected. It spreads like a virus. One thing I have been thinking of is getting if it's possible, discounts for those who are subbed for merch if I do end up getting merch. If I if I do end up getting merch, one of the first things that I will do is a Juan Boob mouse pad. Juan Boob mouse pack. There, mouse pad. You bet I will. I probably won't torture an artist to draw that. So I might end up doing it, so the Juan mouse pad will be very scuffed. It'll be great. It will be great. A Juan mouse pad. We can torture an artist, but also because with a lot of what's it called? Commercial commissions, it's 100% times, so you need to double the price. Many artist friends, you just need to double the price in order to get commercial. Burden with the task. Oh no. No, I want to try myself. And I'll try to do it properly, and unlike what I've done here. I probably will torture an artist. So happy with that emote. I probably will torture an artist for the normal Juna ones, but for Juan, no, I won't burden another another artist. So warm and fuzzy. Do you like my background noises? Can you hear them? Is it not loud enough? Can you hear my background noises? You ask kindly. Oh my. What if I turn up the gain a bit? It's a little quiet. Is this a bit better? It's like rain. Is it gonna make you pee? They have a good sleep schedule like me. What? Yeah. Okay. It may. It may. Should I turn up the fire then? Because KV said it sounded like I was burning the house down. The fire. Turn it down then. It reminds me of when she abandoned me. What? Okay. Chapter 16. A cold rain began to fall, and the blurred street lamps looked ghastly in the dripping mist. The public houses were just closing, and the dim men and women were clustering in broken groups round the doors. From some of the bars came the sound of horrible laughter, and others drunkards brawled and screamed. Lying back in the hansom with his hat pulled over his forehead, Dorian Gray watched with listless eyes the sordid shame of the great city. Did it stutter? Uh-oh. Did what stutter? It froze. Oh, no. No. I know my chat is a little delayed on my OBS, but that's about it. It's back, okay. Or on my end, okay. Bro, I've been so traumatized. Apologies. I've been so traumatized. Okay. Lying back in the hansom with his hat pulled over his forehead, Dorian Gray watched the listless eyes that saw the sordid shame of the great city. And now and then he repeated to himself the words that Lord Henry had said to him on the first day they had met. To cure the soul by means of the senses, and the senses by means of the soul. I didn't mean to scare you. That's okay. That's okay. Yes, that was the secret. He had often tried it and would try it again now. There were opium dens where one could buy oblivion, dens of horror where the memory of old sins could be destroyed by the madness of sins that were new. She's just trying to bully me. The managed to log in. The moon hung low in the sky like a yellow skull. From time to time, a huge misshapen cloud stretched a long arm across and hid it. The gas lamps grew fewer and the streets more narrow and gloomy. Once the man lost his way and tried to drive back half a mile. A steam rose from the horse as it splashed up the puddles. The side windows of the hansom were clogged with a grey flannel mist. Twitch bullying you. How dare they? Only want to drop by and say hello, so we may wake up early tomorrow. Okay. Thank you for dropping by. Good night. To cure the soul by means of the senses, and the senses by means of the soul. How the words rang in his ears. His soul certainly was sick to death. Was it true that the senses could cure it? Innocent blood had been spilt. What could atone for that? For that there were no atonement, but though forgiveness was impossible, forgetfulness was possible still. And he was determined to forget. Hazel, I'm so tired. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. For there was no atonement, but though forgiveness was impossible, forgetfulness was possible still, and he was determined to forget, to to stamp the thing out, to crush it as one would crush the adder that had stung one. Indeed, what right had Basil to have spoken to him as he had done? Who made him a judge over others? He had said things that were dreadful, horrible, but not to be endured. Wait, what? He had said things that were dreadful, horrible, not to be endured. One of those is so no sleep. The purpose of these streams is to make people sleep. I had Gemini tell me that he fell asleep once. Someone else said that too. And I would take that as a compliment, even if that means that whatever I'm doing here is boring. I don't care. On and on plodded the hansom, going slower, it seemed to him, at each step. He thrust up the trap and called to the man to drive faster. The hideous hunger for opium began to gnaw at him. I've fallen asleep to you before. Oh. I take that as a compliment, even if it means that I'm boring. That's still a compliment. His throat burned and his delicate hands twitched nervously together. He struck at the horse madly with his stick. The driver laughed and whipped up. He laughed in answer, and the man was silent. The way seemed interminable, and the streets like the black web of some sprawling spider. The monotony became unbearable, and as the mist thickened, he felt afraid. Then they passed by lonely brickfields. Jojo! Yay! Yay! How are you, Jojo? Then they passed by lonely brickfields. The fog was lighter here, and he could see the strange bottle-shaped kilns with their orange fan-like tongues of fire. Hello, a dog barked as they went by, and far away in the darkness some wandering seagull screamed. The horse stumbled in a rut, then swerved aside and broke into a gallop. After some time, they left the clay road and rattled again over rough paven streets. Melting from heat again? Oh no, I'm freezing. You wanna swap? You wanna swap? You wanna build a snowman? What's the lyrics? What are the lyrics? Like cold, same. Do you wanna build a snowman? Come on, let's go and where? You wanna build a snowman? Come on, let's go and play. I never see you anymore. Come out the door. It's like you've gone away. We used to be best buddies, and now we're not. I wish you would tell me why. Do you wanna build a snowman? It doesn't have to be a snowman. Okay, bye. It's rainy season, it's also cold. Nice. Thank you for the follow, Whirlpool. Yes, I will. Thank you. Where was that? Bro, my Twitch is broken. I will drink. Whoever you are, I do not know who redeemed that. Oh my god, it's broken. Can you stop breaking? Who was that? Let me sip first. Oh, Jojo. Uh, I don't know where I got up to. After some time, they left the clay road and rattled again over rough paven streets. Most of the windows were dark, but now and then fantastic shadows were silhouetted against some lamplit blind. He watched them curiously. They moved like monstrous marionettes and made gestures like live things. He hated them. A dull rage was in his heart. As they turned a corner, a woman yelled something at them from the front door, and two men ran after the hansom for about 800 yards. The driver beat at them with his whip. It is said that passion makes one think in a circle. Certainly, with hideous iteration, the bitten lips of Dorian Gray shaped and reshaped those subtle words that dealt with soul and sense, till he had found them the full expression, as it were, of his mood, and justified by intellectual approval, passions that without such justifications would still have dominated his temper. From cell to cell of his brain crept the one thought, and the wild desire to live, most terrible of all man's appetites, quickened into force each trembling nerve and fibre. Oh, what? Oh, yeah. Ugliness that had once been hateful to him because it made things real became dear to him now for that very reason. Ugliness was the one reality, the coarse brawl, the loathsome den, the crude violence of disordered life, the very vileness of thief and outcast were more vivid in the intense actuality of impression than all the gracious shapes of art. The dreamy shadows of song. They were what he needed for forgetfulness. In 3 days he would be free. I had been without. What's that thing in the front? I had been without her for a few days. Feels like I itch in my ears. Has been finally scratched. What's that thing in the beginning? KB, stop laughing at me. It was hard. So many sounds. My brain just glitched. It was like. Suddenly, the man drew up with a jerk. Suddenly, the man drew up with a jerk at the top of a dark lane. Over the low roofs and jagged chimney stacks of the house rose the black masts of ships. Wreaths of white mist clung like ghostly sails to the yard. It's like, you know, the way anime characters dramatically fall the ground. Oh, right. Oh, I didn't see that. I see it now. Oh. Oh, the head was too small. I'm complaining the head's too small. You sound like me translating my mind. To be fair, I am translating as well. I used to, you know how that inner monologue, if you have an inner monologue, it usually speaks in a language that you're more comfortable in, or something similar, right? I used to have a Chinese inner monologue. So I would speak in my head or in Chinese, and then, but out of my mouth, I would speak English and broken Chinese. But now that I think in English, because I mostly speak English now, I comprehend in Chinese. If that makes 我恨你 No. You do realize with pinyin, it can mean many things. It can mean many things, Hazel. That's how. No. No. Yay, many things. It does mean, it can mean many things. The enunciation is very important. I wish I could speak Chinese in my head just to see how the languages start fighting each other. Yeah, that's why my grammar is horrible. We're so close yet so far. Mwahaha. What other things it could mean? Or him as Lao Gamba. Or is his name John Cena? Lao Gamba. Lao Gamba is yummy. I like the ones with beans. With the beans or the nuts. Beans. 冰淇淋老干妈雪糕 What does he say, John Cena? I like 老干妈老干妈 Script. Okay, read it. John Cena Logama phonetic translation. Got it. Okay, let's do this. Oh god. Oh, it's all in pinyin. I love all the Cheerios and sauces. Okay, this is all in pinyin on Reddit. 你好，你好，微博。我目前正在拍摄电影。Oh, I'm filming a movie. 我目前正在拍摄电影，现在正在休息和用 something。我不能在拍摄过程中试用手机，所以我现在正在拍摄这个视频。因为他们给我老干妈，他说我对老干妈不熟悉不熟悉 I don't know what that means. 微博 contact 但中国人说这是一种极好的辣椒酱。因此，现在我每天在花椰菜上使用老干妈，我用了很多老干妈，这不是广告哦，不，这不是广告。我与老干妈没有任何关系。Kind of contact him, John Cena. Bruh, oh man, I'm losing my Chinese. Okay, what's his Bing Chilling script? Bing Chilling script. John Cena. Juna Cena. Oh no. Bing Chilling. Wait. Oh, still loading. Wait, come on. Load. 你好，微博，我目前正在拍摄电影。His Chinese is a lot better than mine. Like, dang. Okay. Okay, I got the 冰淇淋 script. 早上好，早上好，中国。现在我有冰淇淋，我很喜欢冰淇淋，但是速度与激情啊，但是速度与激与激情就冰淇淋，速度与激情。Dennis, when there was jokes about it, like John Breakfast. I put the first part has been chilling video. 速度与激情，速度与激情九，我最喜欢。所以现在是音乐时间，准备1、2、3。2个礼拜以后，what is this？ 速度与激情就2个礼拜以后 ，what？ 不要忘记，不要错过，记得去电影院看。Oh, this is movie promotion. He starts singing. Yeah, there was singing. 因为非常好电影，动作非常好，差不多一样冰淇淋。哦，差不多一样冰淇淋。再见。What? Bro, my Chinese is gone. Even the pinyin. I'm struggling with the pinyin. Oh, I'm so ashamed of myself. Oh no. Oh no. What else does he say? This was for his movie promotion. Hang on, there's a YouTube video. Oh, Fast and Furious 9. 速度与其情就啊，速度与其情就 What? Why you couldn't even say you'll learn one day? Wow. She'll learn, and she's the best. Shh. His pronunciation's a bit off. 速度与其情就 No, 速度与情 He says it wrong. 速度与其 Wait, 速度与激情就速度与激情酒比冰淇淋哦。Yeah, his pronunciation is way off. 我也喜欢 Nah, man. He says the movie title so fast. It's not even normal. It's fine. He's doing pretty well. How has Dorian Gray turned into that? I blame Hazel. 速度与激情酒。I should start watching. This is when I say I speak English natively on my resume. What do I even speak natively? Because I knew Chinese before I knew English. I knew Chinese before I knew English. But I speak like a 6-year-old. My boob hurts. Hang on. Ow. Just move it around. Maybe none. Yeah, I don't speak anything well. I speak Chinglish. Chinglish is my language. I shall put it on my resumes. What happened to reading? It's fine. It's fine. Was dropping occasionally though. Oh yeah, we're still dropping randomly. I forgot a language in exchange or two. Oh no, I'm dropping. Oh my. Oh, I'm dropping. No. What the heck? Let's search up Chinese tongue twisters. Chinese tongue twisters. Dropping frames. Chinese tongue twisters. This one. This one is basically saying 4 is 4, 10 is 10, 14 is 14, 40 is 40. Right. 4是4，10是10，14是14，40是40。谁把40说44，说14，就打他14。Use cable. I can't. 谁把40说40，就打他40。What does that even mean? Hit them for. Oh, damn. Eat grapes throughout the skins. Okay. 吃葡萄吐葡萄皮儿。吃葡萄吐葡萄皮。不吃葡萄不吐葡萄皮。吃葡萄不吐葡萄皮。不吃葡萄倒吐葡萄皮。800标兵，哦，800标兵奔被炮兵派被变炮兵趴标兵喷标兵爬碰炮兵跑I didn't get it. I don't even know what they mean. It's okay. Are we dropping? No, we're not. Okay, let's go back to Dorian Gray. Let's go back to Dorian Gray instead of Chinese tongue twisters. We should do some more Chinese classes, bro. I'm the last person you should be learning Chinese from. Please. I am horrible. I speak like a 6-year-old. That's my I speak like a 6-year-old who knows some medical jargon. I don't even know what ASMR is, bro. I'm just speaking in reverb. Teach me? What do you want to know? Okay, somewhere about here, so ain't it? He asked huskily through the trap. You study, learn at the same time. Zero losses. True. Dorian started and peered round. This will do, he answered, and having got out hastily and given the driver the extra fare he had promised him, he walked quickly in the direction of the quay. I don't understand any Chinese, I just like hearing you talk, so I'm taking notes. Okay, Hazel, have you done any of the stuff I told you about? Have you done any of the stuff I told you about? Dorian started and peered round. This will do, he answered, and having got out hastily and given the driver the extra fare he had promised him, he walked quickly in the direction of the quay. Here and there a lantern gleamed at the stern of some huge merchantman. The light shook and splintered in the puddles. A red glare came from an outward-bound steamer that was coaling. The slimy pavement looked like a wet Macintosh. Maybe it's because you need to talk to my ears while I do it. What? Actually, I actually can't read Chinese. Okay, I need to translate that. Let me translate. Translate. 老干妈. Actually, I only know how to read Pinyin. Kung Pao chicken. 宫保鸡丁. I don't think I've had Kung Pao chicken. Yeah. Okay. He hurried on towards the left, glancing back now and then to see if he was being followed. In about 7 or 8 minutes, he reached a small shabby house that was wedged in between two gaunt factories. In one of the top windows stood a lamp. He stopped and gave a peculiar knock. Oh, I'm dropping. Oh, I'm dropping. Oh, I'm dropping. Oh, I'm dropping. Come on. Oh, I'm dropping. Hello? Is anyone out there? Hello? It's me. I was wondering blah 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 blah. Ba 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 ba. Oh, what was it? I'm dropping. They won't hear me. I see everything well still. Oh. No, the thing is, I'm having trouble seeing the chat because it's not loading up in time anymore. Oh god. Oh god. I miss having cable. In my new place, I'll get cable. I'm still looking for a new place. The thing is, I'm actually not seeing the chat. It's like, I've got 3 different windows on. including the OBS, and some of them update in time, some of them don't. Like my OBS chat is still stuck at 5 minutes ago, with Hazel saying you don't understand any Chinese but and taking notes. And my frames is at 2.3% dropped, which isn't great. Maybe I'll try something, hang on. Did I make it worse? Did I make it worse? Let's see. I'm still looking for a new rental, and my goal is to have a separate room for computer and streaming stuff. KV, do you miss the random beeps that used to happen in my room? The random beeps from the internet? Okay, what are we up to? He hurried on towards the left, glancing back now and then to see if he was being followed. In about 7 or 8 minutes, he reached a small shabby house that was wedged in between two gaunt factories. In one of the top windows stood a lamp. He stopped and gave a peculiar knock. After a little time, he heard steps in the passage and the chain being unhooked. The door opened quietly, and he went in without saying a word to the squat, misshapen figure that flattened itself into the shadow as he passed. At the end of the hall hung a tattered green curtain that swayed and shook in the gusty window, which had followed him in from the street. He dragged it aside and entered a long, low room, which looked as if it had once been a third-rate dancing saloon. Shrill flaring gas jets, dulled and distorted in the fly-blown mirrors that faced them, were ranged round the walls. Greasy reflectors of ribbed tin backed them, making quivering discs of light. The floor was covered with ochre-coloured sawdust, trampled here and there into mud and stained with dark rings of spilled liquor. Some Malays were crouching by a little charcoal stove, playing with phone counters and showing their white teeth as they chatted. In one corner, with his head buried in his arms, a sailor sprawled over a table, and by the tawdrily painted bar that ran across one complete side stood two haggard women, mocking an old man who was brushing the sleeves of his coat with an expression of disgust. I need to sneeze. You guys didn't hear that, right? You guys didn't hear that, right? He thinks he's got red ants on him, laughed one of them, as Dorian passed by. The man looked at her in terror and began to whimper. At the end of the room there was a little staircase leading to a darkened chamber. As Dorian hurried up its 3 rickety steps, the heavy odour of opium met him. He heard "No!" He heaved a deep breath, and his nostrils and his nostrils quivered with pleasure. Oh, wait, it is these again. Oh my god. You can tell when I sneeze based on the model. Wait. What is it? At the end of the room, there was a little staircase leading to a darkened chamber. As Dorian hurried up his 3 rickety steps, the heavy odour of opium met him. He heaved a deep breath, and his nostrils quivered with pleasure. Ew! When he entered, a young man with smooth yellow hair, who was bending over a lamp lighting a long, thin pipe, looked up at him and nodded in a hesitating manner. The model violently butts his head against the book. Shh. You hear, Adrian? Muttered Dorian. Where else would I be? He answered listlessly. None of the chaps will speak to me now. I thought you had left England. Darlington is not going to do anything. My brother paid the bill at last. George doesn't speak to me either. I don't care, he added with a sigh. As long as one has the stuff one doesn't want, friends. I think I have had too many friends. Dorian winced and looked around at the grotesque things that lay in such fantastic postures on the ragged mattresses. The twisted limbs, the gaping mouths, the staring lustreless eyes fascinated him. Oh, Housemate is back. He knew in what strange heavens they were suffering and what dull hells were teaching them the secret of some new joy. They were better off than he was. He was prisoned in thought, memory, like a horrible malady, was eating his soul away. From time to time, he seemed to see the eyes of Basil Hallward looking at him. Yet he felt he could say, wait, what? Yet he felt he could not stay. The presence of Adrian Singleton troubled him. He wanted to be where no one would. He wanted to be where no one would know who he was. He wanted to escape from himself. I'm going on to the other place, he said after a pause. On the wharf? Yes. That mad cat is sure to be there. They won't have her in this place now. Dorian shrugged his shoulders. I'm sick of women who love one. Women who hate one are much more interesting. Besides, the stuff is much better. Much the same. I like it better. Come and have something to drink. I must have something. I don't want anything, murmured the young man. Never mind. Adrian Singleton rose up wearily and followed Dorian to the bar. A half-caste in a ragged turban and a shabby ulster grinned a hideous greeting as he thrust a bottle of brandy and two tumblers in front of him. The women sidled up and began to chatter. Dorian turned his back on them and said something in a low voice to Adrian Singleton. A crooked smile, like a Malay crease, writhed across the face of one of the women. "We are very proud tonight," she sneered. "For God's sake, don't talk to me," cried Dorian, stamping his foot on the ground. "What do you want? Money? Here it is. Don't ever talk to me again." Two red sparks flashed for a moment in the woman's sodden eyes, then flickered out and left them dull and glazed. She tossed her head and raked the coins off the counter with greedy fingers. Her companion watched her enviously. "It's no use," sighed Adrian Singleton. "I don't care to go back. What does it matter? I am quite happy here." "You will write to me if you want anything, won't you?" said Dorian after a pause. "Perhaps. Good night, then." "Good night," answered the young man, passing up the steps and wiping his parched mouth with a handkerchief. Dorian walked to the door with a look of pain in his face. As he drew the curtain aside, a hideous laugh broke from the painted lips of the woman who had taken his money. There goes the devil's bargain," she hiccuped in a hoarse voice. "Curse you," he answered. "Don't call me that." She snapped her fingers. "Prince Charming is what you like to be called, ain't it?" she yelled after him. The drowsy sailor leaped to his feet as she spoke and looked widely around. The sound of the shutting of the hall door fell on his ears. He rushed out as if in pursuit. Wait, it's the girl's brother. Wait, it's what's her name's brother, Sybil Vane's brother. Oh, he's screwed. It's Sybil Vane's brother. Because he went to travel to Australia, right? Dorian Gray hurried along the quay through the drizzling rain. His meeting with Adrian Singleton had strangely moved him, and he wondered if the ruin of that young life was really to be laid at his door. As Basil Horde had said to him with such infamy of insult. He bit his lip, and for a few seconds his eyes grew sad. Yet, after all, what did it matter to him? One's days were too brief to take the burden of another's errors on one's shoulders. Each man lived his own life. And paid for his own price for living it. Thanks for the follow, Ultra M Slayer. The only pity was one had to pay so often for a single fault. One had to pay over and over again. Indeed, in her dealings with man, destiny never closed her account. There are moments psychologists tells us when the passion for sin, or for what the world calls sin, so dominates a nature that every fibre of the body, as every cell of the brain, seems to be instinct with fear impulses. Men and women at such moments lose the freedom of their will. They move to the terrible end as automatons move. Choice is taken from them, and conscience is either killed, or if it lives at all, lives but to give rebellion its fascination and disobedience its charm. For all sins as theologians weary not of reminding us our sins of disobedience. When that high spirit, that morning star of evil, fell from heaven, it was as a rebel that he fell. Callous, concentrated on evil, with stained mind and soul hungry for rebellion. Dorian Gray hastened on, quickening step as he went, but as he darted aside into a dim archway that had served him often as a shortcut to the ill-famed place where he was going, he felt himself suddenly seized from behind, and before he had time to defend himself, he was thrust back against the wall with a brutal hand round his throat. He struggled madly for life, and by a terrible effort wrenched the tightening fingers away. In a second, he heard the click of a revolver and saw the gleam of a polished barrel pointing straight at his head and the dusky form of a short, thick-set man facing him. "Thanks for follow, Roris." "What do you want?" he gasped. Keep quiet, said the man. "If you stir, I shoot you." "You're mad. What have I done to you?" "You wrecked the life of Sybil Vane," was the answer, "and Sybil Vane was my sister." Yes, yes, he's here. "She killed herself. I know it. Her death is at your door. I swore I would kill you in return. For years I have sought you. I had no clue, no trace. The two people who could have described you were dead. I knew nothing of you but the pet name she used to call you. I heard it tonight by chance. Make a peace with God, for tonight you are going to die." Dorian Gray grew sick with fear. "I never knew her," he stammered. "I never heard of her. You are mad." "You had better confess your sin, for as sure as I am James Vane, you are going to die." There was a horrible moment. Dorian did not know what to say or do. "Down on your knees," growled the man. "I give you 1 minute to make your peace, no more. I go on board tonight for India, and I must do my job first. 1 minute, that's all." Dorian's arms fell to his side. Paralyzed with terror, he did not know what to do. Suddenly, a wild hope flashed across his brain. "Stop," he cried. "How long ago is it since your sister died? Quick, tell me." 18 years, said the man. "Why do you ask me? What do years matter?" 18 years, laughed Dorian Gray, with a touch of triumph in his voice. 18 years. Set me under the lamp and look at my face. Oh. James Vane hesitated for a moment, not understanding what was meant. Then he seized Dorian Gray and dragged him from the archway. Dim and wavery, as was the wind-blown light, yet it served to show him the hideous error as it seemed into which he had fallen, for the face of the man he had sought to kill had all the bloom of boyhood, or the unstained purity of youth. He seemed little more than a lad of 20 summers, hardly older, if older indeed at all, than his sister had been when they had parted so many years ago. It was obvious that this was not the man who had destroyed her life. Wow, he's really taking advantage of this. He loosened his hold and reeled back. My God, he cried, and I would have murdered you. Dorian Gray drew a long breath. You have been on the brink of committing a terrible crime, my man, he said, looking at him sternly. Let this be a warning to you not to take vengeance into your own hands. Forgive me, sir, muttered James Vane. I was deceived. A chance word I heard in that damn's den set me on the wrong track. You had better go home and put that pistol away, or you may get into trouble, said Dorian Gray, turning on his heel and going slowly down the street. James Vane stood at the pavement in horror. In horror. He was trembling from head to foot. After a while, a black shadow that had been creeping along the dripping wall moved out into the light and came close to him with stealthy footsteps. He felt a hand laid on his arm and looked round with a start. It was one of the women who had been drinking at the bar. "Why didn't you kill him?" She hissed out, putting her haggard face quite close to his. "I knew you were following him when you rushed out from the dailies. You fool, you should have killed him. He has lots of money, and he's as bad as bad." "He is not the man I'm looking for," he answered, "and I want no man's money. I want a man's life. The man whose life I want must be nearly 40 now. This one is little more than a boy. Thank God I have not got his blood upon my hands." The woman gave a bitter laugh. "Little more than a boy," she sneered. "Why, man, it's 9 on 18 years. Oh, why, man, it's 9... Why, man, it's 9 on 18 years since Prince Charming made me what I am." "You lie," cried James Vane. She raised her hand up to heaven. "Before God, I am telling the truth," she cried. "Before God? Strike me dumb if it ain't so. He is the worst one that comes here. They say he has sold himself to the devil for a pretty face. It's 9 on 18 years since I met him. He hasn't changed much since then. I have, though," she added with a sickly leer. "You swear this?" "I swear it," came in a hoarse echo from my flat mouth. "But don't give me away to him," she whined. "I am afraid of him. Let me have some money for my night's lodging." She broke from her with an oath and rushed to the corner of the street, but Dorian Gray had disappeared. When he looked back, the woman had vanished also. Wait, who was that woman? Did he meet someone after Sybil? So that was chapter 16. Chapter 17. A week later, Dorian Gray was sitting in the conservatory at Savile Royal, talking to the pretty Duchess of Monmouth, who, with her husband, a jaded-looking man of 60, was amongst his guests. It was tea time, and the mellow light of the huge lace-covered lamp that stood on the table lit up the delicate china and hammered silver of the service at which the Duchess was presiding. Her white hands were moving daintily among the cups, and her full red lips were smiling at something that Dorian had whispered to her. Burger King for lettuce. Wait, what? Burger King for lettuce, what does that mean? Lord Henry was lying back in a silk-draped wicker chair, looking at them. On a peach-coloured divan sat Lady Narborough, pretending to listen to the Duke's description of the last Brazilian beetle that he had added to his collection. 3 young men in elaborate smoking suits were handing tea cakes to some of the women. The house party consisted of 12 people, and there were more expected to arrive on the next day. "What are you two talking about?" said Lord Henry, strolling over to the table and putting his cup down. "I hope Dorian has told you about my plan for rechristening everything, Gladys. It is a delightful idea." "But I don't want to be rechristened, Harry," rejoined the Duchess, looking up at him with her wonderful eyes. "I am quite satisfied with my own name." and I'm sure Mr. Grey should be satisfied with his. My dear Gladys, I will not alter either name for the world. They are both perfect. I was thinking chiefly of flowers. Yesterday, I cut an orchid for my buttonhole. It was a marvellous spotted thing, as effective as the 7 deadly sins. In a thoughtless moment, I asked one of the gardeners what it is called. He told me it was a fine specimen of Robinsoniana, or something dreadful of that kind. It is a sad truth, but we have lost the faculty of giving lovely names to things. Names are everything. I never quarrel with actions. My one quarrel is with words. That is the reason I hate vulgar realism in literature. The man who will call a spade should be compelled to use one. It is the only thing he is fit for. Then, what should we call you, Harry? She asked. His name is Prince Paradox, said Dorian. I recognize him in a flash, exclaimed the Duchess. I won't hear of it, laughed Lord Henry, sinking into a chair. From a label there's no escape. I refuse the title. It's a meme? Burger King for lettuce meme. Big Flopper the one. Thank you for the follow. What is the meme? I'm going to copy and paste that. Scandal in which Burger King employee was photographed standing into plastic tub. Oh. Oh. Ew. Ew. I didn't know it. I didn't know about it. Royalties may not abdicate fell as a warning from pretty lips. You wish me to defend my throne, then? Yes. I give the truths of tomorrow. I prefer the mistakes of today, she answered. You disarm me, Gladys, he cried, catching the wilfulness of her mood. Of your shield, Harry, not of your spear. I never stilt against beauty, he said with a wave of his hand. That is your error, Harry, believe me. You value beauty far too much. How can you say that? I admit that I think that it is better to be beautiful than to be good. But, on the other hand, no one is more ready than I am to acknowledge that it is better to be good than to be ugly. Ugliness is one of the 7 deadly sins, and, cried the Duchess, what becomes of your simile about the orchid? Ugliness is one of the 7 deadly virtues, Gladys. You, as a good Tory, must not underrate them. Beer, the Bible, and the 7 deadly virtues have made England what she is. You don't like your country, then? She asked. I live in it. That you may censure it the better. Would you have me take the verdict of Europe on it? He inquired. What do they say of us? That Tartuffe has emigrated to England and opened a shop. Is that yours, Harry? I give it to you. I could not use it, it is too true. You need not be afraid. Our countrymen never recognized a description. They are practical. They are more cunning than practical. When they make up their ledger, they balance stupidity by wealth, and vice by hypocrisy. Still, we have done great things. Great things have been thrust on us, Gladys. We have carried the burden only as far as the stock exchange. She shook her head. I believe in the race, she cried. It represents the survival of the pushing. It has development. Decay fascinates me more. What of art? She asked. It is a melody, love, an illusion, religion, the fashionable substitute for belief. You are a skeptic. Never skepticism is the beginning of faith. What are you? To define is to limit. Give me a clue. Red snap, you would lose your way in the labyrinth. You bewilder me. Let us talk of someone else. That made no sense, okay. Our host is a delightful topic. Years ago, he was christened Prince Charming. Ah, don't remind me of that, cried Dorian Gray. Our host is rather horrid this evening, answered the Duchess, colouring. I believe he thinks that Monmouth married me on a purely scientific principles as the best specimen he could find of a modern butterfly. Well, I hope he won't stick pins into you, Duchess, cried Dorian. Oh, my maid does that already, Mr. Gray, when she is annoyed with me. And what does she get annoyed with you about, Duchess? For the most trivial things, Mr. Gray, I assure you. Usually because I come in at 10 minutes to 9 and tell her I must be dressed by 8:30. How unreasonable of her. You should give her a warning. I daren't. What's that? Dare not. Daren't. Mr. Gray, why, if she invents hats for me. You remember the one I wore at Lady Hilston's garden party. You don't, but it is nice of you to pretend that you do. Well, she made it out of nothing. All good hats are made out of nothing. Like all good reputations, Gladys, interrupted Lord Henry. Every effect that one produces gives one an enemy. To be popular, one must be a mediocrity. Not with women, said the Duchess, shaking her head, and women rule the world. I assure you, we can't bear mediocrities. We women, as someone says, love with our ears, just as you men love with your eyes, if you ever love at all. They still say that, don't they? They say, women fall in love with what they hear, and men fall in love with what they see. Yeah, they still say that. It seems to me that we never do anything else, murmured Dorian. Ah, then you never really love, Mr. Gray, answered the Duchess with mock sadness. My dear Gladys, cried Lord Henry, how can you say that? Romance lives by repetition, and repetition converts an appetite into an art. Besides, each time that one loves is the only time one has ever loved. Difference of object does not alter singleness of passion. It merely intensifies it. We can have in life but one great experience at best, and the secret of life is to reproduce that experience as often as possible. Even when one has been wounded by it, Harry, asked the Duchess after a pause. Especially when one has been wounded by it, answered Lord Henry. Oh, the yeet. Oops. I should turn it off, and I'm gonna refund you that. Hang on. I'm sorry. Because the program that runs it is broken. And let me refund you. I'm sorry. I'll try to fix it. It decided to break on me. If my internet works, please work. Please refund. If it doesn't work, Cave, you might need to refund it for me instead. Did that refund? I'm gonna assume it did. That one? Oh. Sorry, I just saw that message. everything's broken is customary. See, I see that in my OBS, but in my mod view, I don't see that message. So I've got 3 screens up right now. Scuff is stream is scuff. One cannot be without the other. That's so sad. It all started after I moved here. So I really am looking for a new rental. The ones that I like, they just go so quickly. So I need to. I have applied for one that was available. Hopefully that works. But yeah, I'll try. I'm trying. I told them that my goal is to move out or start the moving in process on the 20th of July. I hope I make it by. Thanks for the nose, the clown nose. I hope I make it by my birthday so we can do a birthday stream. But if I don't, we might need to cancel it, which is sad. Even when one has been wounded by Harry, asked the Duchess after a pause. Oh wow. Everyone goes for the egg. The Duchess turned and looked at Dorian Gray with a curious expression in her eyes. What do you say to that, Mr. Gray? She inquired. Dorian hesitated for a moment. Yes, I will. Thank you. Thank you, thirsty alien Tony. Should I gulp to the mic? Let's try that. Drinking ASMR. Could you hear that? Dorian hesitated for a moment. Then he threw back his head and laughed. Nice. Thank you. I always agree with Harry, Duchess. Glub glub. Even when he's wrong. Harry is never wrong, Duchess. And does his philosophy make you happy? My neighbour, she's so loud. I have never searched for happiness. Hey, oh, how are you doing? Amazing people doing super fabulous. That's great to hear. Yes, it's nice that you are having a good day and you're spinning around breaking down. That's a nice emote. I really like that emote. I really like that emote. But yes, today we are doing bad reading. I'm horrible at reading. Just because I need to sleep properly after stream, and games make me very buzzed. I've never searched for happiness. Who wants happiness? I have searched for pleasure. And found it, Mr. Gray. Sounds fun. Sounds fun. And sure, yes, we do games on Friday because there's no work on Saturday. What is that emote? Are you running around chasing? never searched for happiness. Who wants happiness? I've searched for pleasure. Away! I have been one of us didn't make two major bumps. And also resolve the self realize the stress when you really do it. Because thank you. Hello, Joy. Unfortunately, we did have some few. I've got 3 screens up, so something's not working well. But that's fine. That's fine. I hope your day has been good, Joey. What was that? And found it too, Mr. Grey. Just started. Often. Too often. The Duchess sighed. I'm searching for peace, she said. And if I don't go and dress, I shall have none this evening. Let me get you some orchids, Duchess, cried Dorian, starting to his feet and walking down the conservatory. You are flirting disgracefully with him, said Lord Henry to his cousin. You had better take care. He is very fascinating. If he were not, there would be no battle. Greek meets Greek, then. I am on the side of the Trojans. They fought for a woman. They were defeated. There are worse things than capture, she answered. You gallop with a loose rein. Pace gives life was a riposte. I shall write it in my diary tonight. What? That a burnt child loves the fire. I am not even singed. My wings are untouched. You use them for everything except flight. Thanks for follow, Bucky. Courage has passed from men to women. It is a new experience for us. You have a rival. Who? He laughed. Lady Narborough, he whispered. She perfectly adores him. You fill me with apprehension. The appeal to antiquity is fatal to us who the appeal to antiquity is fatal to us who are romanticists. Romanticists, you have all the methods of science. Men have educated us, but not explained you. Describe us as a sex was a challenge. Sexes without secrets. She looked at him, smiling. How long Mr. Grey is, she said. Let us go and help him. I have not yet told him the colour of my frock. Ah, you must suit your frock to his flowers, Gladys. That will be a premature surrender. Romantic art begins with its climax. I must keep an opportunity for retreat. In the Parthian manner, they found safety in the desert. I could not do that. For the follow Vindham, women are not always allowed a choice, he answered, but hardly had he finished the sentence before from the far end of the conservatory came a stifled groan, followed by the dull sound of a heavy fall. Uh-oh. And with fear in his eyes, Lord Henry rushed through the flapping palms to find Dorian Gray lying face down on the tiled floor in a death-like swoon. He was carried at once into the blue drawing room and laid upon one of the sofas. After a short time he came to himself and looked round with a dazed expression. What has happened? He asked. Oh, I remember. Am I safe here, Harry? He began to tremble. My dear Dorian, answered Lord Henry, you merely fainted. That was all. You must have overtired yourself. You had better not come down to dinner. I will take your place. No, I will come down, he said, struggling to his feet. I would rather come down. I must not be alone. He went to his room and dressed. There was a wild recklessness of gaiety in his manner as he sat at table, but now and then a thrill of terror ran through him when he remembered that, pressed against the window of the conservatory like a white handkerchief, he had seen the face of James Vane watching him. Oh, James found him. Oh, that was 17. Dang. Dang. Oh, he's dead. Oh, he's screwed. Our boy is screwed. Oh. Okay, chapter 18. This is our last chapter. I think it is. Oh, it's our last chapter. The waba. I drink the waba. The last chapter. There's 20 chapters in total, but we're on 18. So tomorrow it's definitely our last Dorian Gray one. I also have Grimm Fairy Tales, Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales, so we can go through that. There's also Arabian Nights that I'm thinking of. Gulp. Unless there's other requests. But I do prefer anything that's public domain just because they're the ones that are not copyright. So it means it's old books. They're very descriptive of books, but so boring. Chapter 18. The next day he did not leave the house, and indeed spent most of the time in his own room, sick with a wild terror of dying, and yet indifferent to life itself. The consciousness of being hunted, snared, tracked down had begun to dominate him. If the tapestry did but tremble in the wind, he shook. Arabian Nights. Yeah, I did find Arabian Nights. Yeah. The dead leaves that were blown against the leaded panes seemed to him like his own wasted resolutions and wild regrets. When he closed his eyes, he saw again the sailor's face peering through the mist-stained glass, and the horror seemed once more to lay its hand upon his heart. But perhaps it had been only his fancy that had poured vengeance out of the night and set the hideous shapes of punishment before him. Actual life was chaos, but there was something terribly illogical in the imagination. It was the imagination that made each crime bear its misshapen brood. In the common world of fact, the wicked were not punished, nor the good rewarded. Success was given to the strong, failure thrust upon the weak. That was all. Besides, had any stranger been prowling round the house, he would have been seen by the servants or the keepers. Had any footmarks been found on the flower beds, the gardeners would have reported it. Yes, it had been merely fancy. Sybil Vane's brother had not come back to kill him. He had sailed away in a ship to founder in some winter sea. From him, at any rate, he was safe. Why, the man did not know who he was, and could not know who he was. The mask of youth had saved him. And yet, if it had been merely an illusion, how terrible it was to think that conscience could raise such fearful phantoms and give them visible form, and make them move before one. What sort of life would his be if day and night shadows of his crime were to peer at him from silent corners, to mock him from secret places, to whisper in his ear as he sat at the feast, to wake him with icy fingers as he lay asleep? As the thought crept through his brain, he grew pale with terror, and the air seemed to him to have become suddenly colder. Oh, in what a wild hour of madness he had killed his friend! How ghastly the mere memory of the scene! He saw it all again. Each hideous detail came back to him with added horror. Out of the black cave of time, terrible and swathed in scarlet, rose the image of his sin. When Lord Henry came in at 6 o'clock, he found him crying as one whose heart would break. It was not till the third day that he had ventured to go out. There was something in the clear pine-scented air of that winter morning that seemed to bring him back his joyousness and his ardour for life. It was not till the third day. What did I read? But it was not merely the physical conditions of environment that had caused the change. His own nature had revolted against the excess of anguish that had sought to maim and mar the perfection of his calm. The strong passions must either bruise or bend. They either slay the man or themselves die. Shallow sorrows and shallow loves lives on. The loves and sorrows that are great are destroyed by their own plenitude. Besides, he had convinced himself that he had been the victim of a terror-stricken imagination, and looked back now on his fears with something of pity, and not a little of contempt. After breakfast, he walked with the Duchess for an hour in the garden and then drove across the park to join the shooting party. The crisp frost lay like salt upon grass. The sky was an invert cup of blue metal. A thin film of ice bordered the flat, reed-grown lake. At the corner of the pinewood, he caught sight of Sir Geoffrey Clouston, the Duchess's brother, jerking two spent cartridges out of his gun. He jumped from the cart, and having told the groom to take the mare home, made his way towards his guest through the wicked bracken and rough undergrowth. "Have you had good sport, Geoffrey?" he asked. "Not very good, Dorian. I think most of the birds have gone to the open. I dare say it will be better after lunch when we get to new ground." Dorian strolled along by his side. The keen aromatic air, the brown and red lights that glimmered in the wood, the hoarse cries of the beaters ringing out from time to time, and the sharp snaps of the guns that followed, fascinated him and filled him with a sense of delightful freedom. It was dominated by the carelessness of happiness, by the high indifference of joy. Suddenly, from a lumpy tussock of old grass some 20 yards in front of him, with black-tipped ears erect and long hinder limbs throwing her forward, started a hare. It bolted for a thicket of alders. Sir Geoffrey put his gun to his shoulder, but there was something in the animal's grace of movement that strangely charmed Dorian Gray. He cried out at once, "Don't shoot it, Geoffrey, let it live." "What nonsense!" Dorian laughed at his companion, and as the hare bounded into the thicket he fired. There were two cries heard: the cry of a hare in pain, which is dreadful, the cry of a man in agony, which is worse. "Good heavens, I have hit a beaker," claimed Sir Geoffrey. What an ass the man was to get in front of the guns. Stop shooting there, he called out at the top of his voice. A man is hurt. The headkeeper came running up with a stick in his hand. Where, sir? Where is he? He shouted. At the same time the firing ceased along the line. Here, answered Sir Geoffrey angrily, hurrying towards the thicket. Why on earth don't you keep your men back? Spoiled my shooting for the day. Dorian watched them as they plunged into the alder clump, brushing the light-ringing branches aside. In a few moments they emerged, dragging a body after them into the sunlight. He turned away in horror. It seemed to him that misfortune followed wherever he went. He heard Sir Geoffrey ask if the man was really dead, and the affirmative answer of the keeper. The woods seemed to him to have suddenly become alive with faces. There was a trampling of myriad feet and the low buzz of voices. A great copper-breasted pheasant came beating through the boughs and overhead. After a few moments, that were to him in his perturbed state like endless hours of pain. He felt a hand on his shoulder. He started and looked around. Dorian, said Lord Henry, I'd better go tell them that the shooting is stopped for today. It would not look too well to go on. It would not look well to go on. I wish it was stopped forever, Harry, he answered bitterly. The whole thing is hideous and cruel. Is the man... He could not finish his sentence. I am afraid so, rejoined Lord Henry. He got the whole charge of shot in his chest. He must have died almost instantaneously. Come, let us go home. They walked side by side in the direction of the avenue for nearly 50 yards without speaking. Then Dorian looked at Lord Henry and said with a heavy sigh, It is a bad omen, Harry, a very bad omen. What is? Asked Lord Henry. Oh, this accident, I suppose. My dear fellow, it can't be helped. It was the man's own fault. Why did he get in front of the guns? Besides, it is nothing to us. It is rather awkward for Geoffrey, of course. It does not do to pepper beaters. It makes people think that one is a wild shot. And Geoffrey is not. He shoots very straight. But there is no use talking about the matter. Dorian shook his head. It is a bad omen, Harry. I feel as if something horrible were going to happen to some of us. To myself, perhaps, he added, passing his hand over his eyes, with a gesture of pain. The elder man laughed. The only horrible thing in the world is ennui, Dorian. That is the one sin for which there is no forgiveness. We are not likely to suffer from it unless these fellows keep chattering about this thing at dinner. I must tell them that the subject is to be tabooed. As for omens, there is no such thing as an omen. Destiny does not send us heralds. She is too wise or too cruel for that. Besides, what on earth could happen to you, Dorian? You have everything in the world that a man can want. There is no one who would not be delighted to change places with you. There's no one with whom I would not change places, Harry. Don't laugh like that. I am telling you the truth. The wretched peasant who had just died is better off than I am. I have no terror of death. It is the coming of death that terrifies me. Its monstrous wings seem to wheel in the leaden air around me. Good heavens, don't you see a man moving behind the trees? There, watching me, waiting for me. Lord Henry looked in the direction in which the trembling gloved hands was pointing. Yes, he said, smiling. I see the gardener waiting for you. I suppose he wants to ask you what flowers you wish to have on the table tonight. How absurdly nervous you are, my dear fellow. You must come and see my doctor when we get back to town. Lord Henry, what? Dorian heaved a sigh of relief as he saw the gardener approaching. The man touched his hat, glanced for a moment at Lord Henry in a hesitating manner, and then produced a letter which he handed to his master. Her Grace told me to wait for an answer, he murmured. Dorian put the letter into his pocket. Tell Her Grace that I am coming in, he said coldly. The man turned round and went rapidly in the direction of the house. How fond women are of doing dangerous things, laughed Lord Henry. It is one of the qualities in them that I admire most. A woman will flirt with anybody in the world as long as other people are looking on. How fond you are of saying dangerous things, Harry. In the present instance, you are quite astray. I like the Duchess very much, but I don't love her. And the Duchess loves you very much, but she likes you less. So you are excellently matched. You are talking scandal, Harry, and there's never any basis for scandal. The basis of every scandal is an immoral certainty. The basis of every scandal is an immoral certainty, said Lord Henry, lighting a cigarette. You would sacrifice anybody, Harry, for the sake of an epigram. The world goes to the altar of its own accord, was the answer. I wish I could love, cried Dorian Gray with a deep note of pathos in his voice. But I seem to have lost the passion and forgotten the desire. I'm too much concentrated on myself. My own personality has become a burden to me. I want to escape, to go away, to forget. It was silly of me to come down here at all. I think I shall send a wire to Harvey to have the yacht got ready. On a yacht is safe. On a yacht, one is safe. Safe from what, Dorian? You are in some trouble. Why not tell me what it is? You know I would help you. I can't tell you, Harry, he answered sadly, and I dare say it is only a fancy of mine. It is unfortunate. This unfortunate accident has upset me. I have a horrible presentiment that something of the kind may happen to me. What nonsense. I hope it is, but I can't help feeling it. Ah, there's the Duchess, looking like Artemis in a tailor-made gown. You see, we have come back, Duchess. I've heard all about it, Mr. Gray, she answered. Poor Geoffrey is terribly upset, and it seems that you asked him not to shoot the hare. How curious. Yes, it was very curious. I don't know what made me say it. Some whim, I suppose. It looked the loveliest of little live things, but I am sorry they told you about the man. It is a hideous subject. It is an annoying subject, broke in Lord Henry. It has no psychological value at all. Now, if Geoffrey had done the thing on purpose, how interesting he would be. I should like to know someone who had committed a real murder. How horrid of you, Harry, cried the Duchess. Isn't it, Mr. Gray? Harry, Mr. Gray's ill again. He's going to faint. Dorian drew himself up with an effort and smiled. It is nothing, Duchess, he murmured. My nerves are dreadfully out of order. That is all. I'm afraid I walked too far this morning. I didn't hear what Harry said. Was it very bad? You must tell me some other time. I think I must go and lie down. You will excuse me, won't you? They had reached the great flight of steps that led from the conservatory onto the terrace. As the glass door closed behind Dorian, Lord Henry turned and looked at the Duchess with his slumberous eyes. Are you very much in love with him? He asked. She did not answer for some time, but stood gazing at the landscape. I wish I knew, she said at last. He shook his head. Knowledge would be fatal. It is uncertainty that charms one. A mist makes things wonderful. One may lose one's way. Always end at the same point, my dear Gladys. What is that? Disillusion. It was my debut in life, she sighed. It came to you crowned. I am tired of strawberry leaves. They become you, only in public. You would miss them, said Lord Henry. I will not part with a petal. Monmouth has ears. Monmouth has ears. Old age is dull of hearing. Has he never been jealous? I wish he had been. He glanced about as if in search of something. What are you looking for? She inquired. The button from your foil. He answered, you have dropped it. She laughed. I still have the mask. It makes your eyes lovelier, was his reply. She laughed again. Her teeth showed like white seeds in a scarlet fruit. Upstairs, in his own room, Dorian Gray was lying on the sofa, with terror in every tingling fibre of his body. Life had dreadfully become too hideous, a burden for him to bear. The dreadful death of the unlucky beater, shot in the thicket like a wild animal, had seemed to him to prefigure death for himself also. He had nearly swooned at what Lord Henry had said in a chance mood of cynical jesting. At 5 o'clock, he rang his bell for his servant, and gave him orders to pack his things for the night express to town, and to have the brougham at the door by 8:30. He was determined not to sleep another night at Selby Royal. It was an ill-omened place. Death walked there in the sunlight. The grass of the forest had been spotted with blood. Then he wrote a note to Lord Henry, telling him that he was going up to town to consult his doctor, and asking him to entertain his guests in his absence. As he was putting into the envelope, a knock came to the door, and his valet informed him that the head keeper wished to see him. Yep. Thank you. Who was that? Bro, nothing's updating. That Jojo. Thank you. Death walked there in the sunlight. The grass of the forest had been spotted with blood. Okay, Then he wrote a note to Lord Henry, telling him that he was going up to town to consult his doctor and asking him to entertain his guests in his absence. As he was putting it into the envelope, a knock came to the door, and his valet informed him that the head keeper wished to see him. He frowned and bit his lip. Send him in, he muttered after some moments' hesitation. As soon as the man entered, Dorian pulled his checkbook out of the drawer and spread it out before him. I suppose you have come about the unfortunate accident of this morning, Thornton, he said, taking up a pen. Yes, sir, answered the gamekeeper. Was the poor fellow married? Had he any people dependent on him? Asked Dorian, looking bored. If so, I should not like them to be left in want, and and will send them any money, and will send them any sum of money you may think necessary. We don't know who he is, sir. That is what I took the liberty of coming to you about. Don't know who he is, said Dorian listlessly. What do you mean? Wasn't he one of your men? No, sir. Never saw him before. Seems like a sailor, sir. The pen dropped from Dorian Gray's hand, and he felt as if his heart had suddenly stopped beating. A sailor? He cried out. Did you say a sailor? Yes, sir. He looked as if he had been a sort of sailor, tattooed on both arms and that kind of thing. Was there anything found on him? Said Dorian, leaning forward and looking at the man with startled eyes. Anything that would tell his name? Some money, sir, not much, and a six-shooter. There was no name of any kind. A decent-looking man, sir, but rough-like. A sort of sailor, we think. Dorian started on his feet. A terrible hope fluttered past him. He clutched at it madly. Where is the body? He exclaimed. Quick, I must see it at once. It is in an empty stable in the home farm, sir. The folk don't like to have that sort of thing in their houses. They say a corpse brings bad luck. The home farm? Go there at once and meet me. Tell one of the grooms to bring my horse round. No, never mind. I'll go to the stables myself. It will save time. In less than a quarter of an hour, Dorian Gray was galloping down the long avenue as hard as he could go. The trees seemed to sweep past him in spectral procession, and wild shadows to fling themselves across his path. Once the mare swerved at a white gate-post and nearly threw him. He lashed her across the neck with his crop. She cleft the dusky air like an arrow. The stones flew from her hooves. At last he reached a home farm. Two men were loitering in the yard. He leaped from the saddle and threw the reins to one of them. In the furthest stable a light was glimmering. Something seemed to tell him that the body was there, and he hurried to the door and put his hand upon the latch. There he paused for a moment, feeling that he was on the brink of discovery that would either make it or mar his life. Then he thrust the door open and entered. On a heap of sacking in the far corner was lying the dead body of a man dressed in a coarse shirt, and a pair of blue trousers. A spotted handkerchief had been placed over the head. A spotted handkerchief had been placed over the face. A coarse candle stuck in a bottle sputtered beside it. Dorian Gray shuddered. He felt that his could not be the hand to take the handkerchief away, and called out to one of the farm servants to come to him. Take that thing off the face. I wish to see it, he said, clutching at the doorpost for support. When the farm servant had done so, he stepped forward. A cry of joy broke from his lip. The man who had been shot in the thicket was James Vane. Oh! He stood there for some minutes, looking at the dead body. As he rode home, his eyes were full of tears, for he knew he was safe. Damn it! That was 18. Damn it. Okay, so James died. It just seems as if the whole world is just not against Dorian Gray, but just rooting for him, despite him doing bad things. Yeah. Crazy. Crazy. So basically, Sybil Vane, the person that started everything, her brother found Dorian. That's what the following rumor. Her brother found Dorian. And he wanted to kill Dorian, but was sort of stalking him. Obviously, he doesn't have the brains because he was hiding in the area where they were shooting at. Dang. I bet Dorian's gonna do something stupid again. Dang. But yeah, that was it for... Where is my... games? What kind of weird stories do we have today? A few short ones. And then Tom Thumb. I think Tom Thumb is a known one, right? I think. Need to get some bees dozing off a bit. Okay. Thank you for joining. Okay. Yes, thank you for joining, Gemini. Thank you for hanging out. Good night. So we have a golden key, sharing joy and sorrow. These are the short ones. Let me flip a page. The nail and then Tom Thumb. Bing chilling. Okay. So we can try to finish, do the short ones and then do Tom Thumb. Okay, the golden key. My nose. That sneeze was not worth it. In the wintertime, when deep snow lay on the ground, a poor boy was forced to go out on a sledge to fetch wood. When he had gathered it together and packed it, he wished, as he was so frozen with cold, not to go home at once, but to light a fire and warm himself a little. So he scraped away the snow, and as he was thus clearing the ground, he found a tiny gold key. Hereupon he thought that where the key was, the lock must be also, and dug in the ground and found an iron chest. If the key does but fit it, thought he, no doubt there are precious things in that little box. He searched, but no key was there. But no keyhole was there. At last he discovered one, but so small that it was hardly visible. He tried it, and the key fitted it exactly. Then he turned around once, and now we must wait until he has quite unlocked it and opened the lid, and then we shall learn what wonderful things were laying in that box. Bro, that was an open-ended story. What the hell? That was it. One paragraph. Basically, he got the key in, turned it, and then the end. We do not know what's in the box. What do we think is in a box? Grimm brothers, why are you like this? That's a whole story. Yep. Yep. That's the whole story. That's it. Who would have thunk it? Okay, sharing joy and sorrow is a bit longer. It's longer than a paragraph. Okay. There once was a tailor who was a quarrelsome fellow, and his wife who was good, industrious. Though it definitely won't leave you indifferent. Okay, sharing joy and sorrow. There once was a tailor who was a quarrelsome fellow, and his wife who was good, industrious, and pious, never could please him. Whatever she did, he was not satisfied, but grumbled and scolded and knocked her about and beat her. As the authorities at last heard of it, they had him summoned and put in prison in order to make him better. He was kept for a while on bread and water and then set free again. He was forced, however, to promise not to beat his wife any more, but to live with her in peace and share joy and sorrow with her as married people ought to do. All went on well for a time, but then he fell into his old ways and was surly and quarrelsome. And because he dared not beat her, he would seize her by the hair and tear it out. The woman escaped from him and sprang out into the yard, but he ran after her with his yard measure and scissors and chased her about, and threw the yard measure and scissors at her, and whatever else came his way. When he hit her, he laughed, and when he missed her, he stormed and swore. This went on so long that the neighbours came to the wife's assistance. The tailor was again summoned before the magistrates and reminded of his promise. "Dear gentleman," said he, "I have kept my word. I have not beaten her, but have shared joy and sorrow with her." "How can that be?" said the judge, "when she continually brings such heavy complaints against you?" "I have not beaten her, but just because she looks so strange, I wanted to comb her hair with my hand. She, however, got away from me and left me quite spitefully. Then I hurried after her, and in order to bring her back to her duty, I threw at her as a well-meant admonition whatever came readily to hand. I've shared joy and sorrow with her also, for whenever I hit her, I was full of joy, and she of sorrow, and if I missed her, then she was joyful, and I was sorry." The judges were not satisfied with this answer, but gave him the reward he deserved. What? That was it. What sort of story is that? What the hell? Huh? Oh, what the hell? Let's hope the next one's better. Yeah, I know, right? I know, right? Lip, how was your binge chilling? I might go get binge chilling later. Alfie, hello, hello. Binge chilling. Oh, what the hell? Grimm Brothers. Binge chilling. Have you thought that this is a book that puts readers in a bad mood? I'm sorry. They're bedtime stories. How are you, Alfie? Okay, let's hope the next one will be better, okay? Hoopla. Hoopla, hoopla, the circus is in town. Have you seen the animals? Have you seen the clown? Hey there, hoopla. Thanks to you. What is that? Spirit ill. Oh, okay. Just wake up. Oh, nice. It's nighttime for me. It's 9:16 for me. PM. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. We're reading Grim Lucky. We're in a 7 a.m. Oh. Yeah, I realize a lot of my audience are not in my time zone. Most of them have to go to work soon. Ah, good luck with work. I know work isn't the most fun. Most of us don't want to go to work, but I hope it is uneventful and time flies quickly. I don't know how many times I have heard the next story is a good one. I don't know, the next one's short as well. The next one's short as well. It's called The Nail. It's a short title. This one has one, two, three, four. Four short paragraphs and a sentence, and a 2-word sentence. Thank you. No. Everyone should have uneventful work days that seem fast. Are you British? No. 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 I have been told that I occasionally sound British, but no. I'm Australian. I would blame. Actually, I don't know what to blame. Most of the media's American now. I usually blame watching a lot of Doctor Who in the past, but I haven't watched Doctor Who in years. Yes, Australian. I like the accent. Thank you. I think for me, I'm a weird concoction of different accents because, I mean, if you think about the media, it's an easy way to learn speech because there isn't it a thing now that a lot of the kids in America sound Australian because of Bluey, the kids show. For me, it was because of Doctor Who, and there was something else. There's one other show. I watched a lot of Super Nanny as well. Gordon Ramsay stuff sometimes. Yes, I'll blame Gordon Ramsay for my accent. Do you have an accent first? News I heard about it. It's one of the things that a lot of people comment on. KV. KV. KV, are you okay? KV. Okay, the nail. A merchant had done good business at the fair. He had sold his wares and lined his bags with gold and silver. Then he wanted to travel homewards and be in his own house before nightfall. Purple yam ice cream is rich. Oh, I've never had that before. Oh, what do I have? I have macadamia and I think some sort of caramel ice cream in my fridge. Yeah, he wanted to travel homewards and be in his own house before nightfall. So he packed his trunk with the money on his horse and rode away. At noon he rested in a town, and when he wanted to go farther, the stable boy brought out his horse and said, "A nail is wanting." so in the shoe of its left hind foot. Let it be wanting, answered the merchant. The shoe will certainly stay on for the 6 miles I have still to go. I am in a hurry. I am unable to differentiate accents. We've already had this conversation. I have to go over the list of jokes again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Bold. Bold. I'm an egg. Bold. 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 I'm an egg. He rode forth, but before long the horse began to limp. Have you watched SpongeBob? The movie? Someone did show it to me. It's been a while. I do not remember. Hello, Lost Samurai. Hello, long time no see. What did I grow up on? I grew up on Sailor Moon. I grew up on Sailor Moon. How long has it been? A while. We did watch it. They're like, bold, bold, bold. I'm gonna search it. How long has it been? When was the last time? The last time was February. February, my dude. Let me search it up. Okay, YouTube. SpongeBob. Movie. Bold, bold. Oh, right. I remember that. All right. Bold, 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 bold. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm very bold. I'm an egg. Oh, what I could do, I would just turn it on for the game streams. When someone does redeem the egg, I'll also have an audio of that playing. Good idea. Thank you for the follow as well. Good idea. I'll do that. If I remember. I'll try to remember. Yeah, I'll try to remember. But it will only play for the game streams. So my Friday streams, it's Monday for me right now. Because, yeah, it's a bit too disruptive for streams like this. I like my new phone because I can do 2 things at once. Nice. How many eggs does it take to change a light bulb? 4. Zero. Oh. 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 Oh, you're smart. Oh. You're smart. Genius. Very smart. Big brain. He rode forth, but before long the horse began to limp. It had not limped long before it began to stumble, and it had not stumbled long before it fell down and broke its leg. The merchant was forced to leave the horse where it was and unbuckle the trunk, take it on his back, and go home on foot. And there he did not arrive until quite late at night. And that unlocking a nail, he said to himself, has caused all this disaster. Hastens slowly. Wait, what? Oh. Wait, what? Wait, what? Let me reread that. I think we missed something. Speaking of self, I still haven't bought a new one since accident. Maybe this week. Maybe. Wait, I think we missed something. Okay. At noon, he rested in a town, and when he wanted to go farther, the stable boy brought out his horse and said, "A nail is wanting, sir, in the shoe on his left hind foot." "Let it be wanting," answered the merchant. "The shoe will certainly stay on for the 6 miles. I've still to go. I am in a hurry." In the afternoon, when he once more alighted and had his horse fed, the stable boy went into the room to him and said, "Sir, a shoe is missing from your horse's left hind foot. Shall I take him to the blacksmith?" "Let it still be wanting," answered the man. "The horse can very well hold out for the couple of miles which remain. I am in haste." He rode forth, but before long the horse began to limp. It had not limped long before it began to stumble, and it had not stumbled long before it fell down and broke its leg. The merchant was forced to leave the horse where it was and unbuckle the trunk, take it on his back, and go home on foot. And there he did not arrive until quite late at night. And that unlucky nail, he said to himself, has caused all this disaster. Hasten slowly. I don't get it. I don't understand this one. Did he? Oh. Basically, it's just this guy. Oh. Okay, next one will be good. Next one will be good. Okay. I'll stop reads for now as well. Okay, Tom Thumb. There was once a poor peasant who sat in the evening by the hearth and poked the fire, and his wife sat and span. I've been without a phone for months. I still don't need it. It's fine. If you don't need it, you don't need it. Then said he, "How sad it is that we have no children. With us all is so quiet, and in other houses it is noisy and lively." "Yes," replied the wife, and sighed, "even if we had only one, and it were quite small and only as big as the thumb, I should be quite satisfied, and we would still love it with all our hearts." Now it so happened that the woman fell ill, and after 7 months gave birth to a child that was perfect in all its limbs, but no longer than a thumb. Talking to two people watching this. What? Why? 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 Nande? Wait, is that the right term? Nande? Nande? Oh, I need to piss. It's fine. No longer than a thumb. Let me find lesbian. You're talking to two people, not in person, but through your phone. Oh, you meant in person. No longer than a thumb. Then said they, "It is as we wished it to be, but it shall be a dear child." And because of its size, they called it Tom Thumb. They did not let it want for food, but the child did not grow taller, but remained as it had been at the first. Nevertheless, it looked sensibly out of its eyes, and soon showed itself to be wise and nimble, to be a wise and nimble creature, for everything it did turned out well. One top right. Oh, nice. One day the peasant was getting ready to go into the forest to cut wood when he said to himself, "How I wish that there was anyone who would bring the cart to me." "Oh, father," cried Tom Thumb, "I will soon bring the cart. Rely on that. It shall be in the forest at the appointed time." The man smiled and said, How can that be done? Thou art far too small to lead the horse by the reins." "That's of no consequence, father. If my mother will only harness it, I shall sit on the horse's ear and call out to him how he is to go." It's hard to, because I can't tell what chart I'm writing right now. Imagine if you write the wrong thing in the wrong chat. Well, answered the man, "for once we will try it." When the time came, the mother harnessed the horse and placed Tom Thumb in its ears, and then the little creature cried, "Gee up, gee up." Then it went quite properly as if with its master, and the cart went the right way into the forest. It so happened that as he was turning a corner and the little one was crying, "Gee up," two strange men came towards him. "My word," said one of them, "what is this? There's a cart coming, and a driver is calling to the horse, but still he is not to be seen." "That can't be right," said the other. "We will follow the cart and see where it stops." The cart, however, drove right into the forest, and exactly to the place where the wood had been cut. When Tom Thumb saw his father, he cried to him, "Seest thou, father? Here I am with a cart. Now take me down." The father got hold of the horse with his left hand, and with the right took his son out of the ear. His Tom Thumb sat down quite merrily on a straw, but when the two strange men saw him, they did not know what to say for astonishment. When one of them took the other aside and said, "Hard, wait, I love cod. I got the puppy clone. What? I don't understand anything about cod." Then one of them took the other aside and said, "Hark, the little fellow would make our fortune if we exhibit him in a large town for money. We will buy him." They went to the peasant and said, "Sell us the little man. He shall be well treated with us." "No," replied the father, "he is the apple of my eye, and all the money in the world cannot buy him from me." Tom Thumb, however, when he heard of the bargain, he had crept up the folds of his father's coat, placing himself on his shoulder, and whispered in his ear, "Father, do give me away. I will soon come back again." Then the father parted with him to the two men for a handsome bit of money. "Where wilt thou sit?" they said to him. "Oh, just set me on the rim of your hat, and then I can walk backwards and forwards and look at the country, and still not fall down." They did as he wished, and when Tom Thumb had taken leave of his father, they went away with him. They walked until it was dusk, and then the little fellow said, "Do take me down. I want to come down." The man took off his hat and put the little fellow on the ground by the wayside, and he leapt and crept about a little between the sods, and then he suddenly slipped into a mouse hole which he had sought out. "Good evening, gentlemen. Just go home without me," he cried to them and mocked them. They ran thither and stuck their sticks into the mouse hole. But it was all lost labour. Tom Thumb crept still further in, and as it soon became quite dark, they were forced to go home with their vexation and their empty purses. When Tom Thumb saw that they were gone, he crept back out of the subterranean passage. "It is so dangerous to walk on the ground in the dark," said he. "How easily a neck or leg is broken." Fortunately, he knocked against an empty snail shell. "Thank God," said he, "in that I can pass the night in safety," and got into it. Not long after, when he was just going to sleep, he heard two men go by, and one of them was saying, "How shall we contrive to get hold of the rich pastor's silver and gold?" I could tell thee that," cried Tom Thumb, interrupting them. "What was that?" said one of the thieves in fright. "I heard someone speaking." They stood still listening, and Tom Thumb spoke again and said, "Take me with you, and I'll help you." "But where art thou?" "Just look on the ground and observe from whence my voice comes," he replied. There the thieves at length found him and lifted him up. "Thou little imp, how wilt thou help us?" they said. "A great deal," said he. "I will creep into the pastor's room through the iron bars, and will reach out to you whatever you want to have." "Come then," they said, "and we will see what thou canst do." When they got to the pastor's house, Tom Thumb crept into the room and instantly cried out with all his might, "Do you want to have everything that is here?" The thieves were alarmed and said, "But do speak softly, so as not to waken anyone." Tom Thumb, however, behaved as if he had not understood this, and cried again, "What do you want? Do you want to have everything that is here?" The cook, who slept in the next room, heard this and sat up in bed and listened. The thieves, however, had in their fright run some distance away, but at last they took courage and thought, "The little rascal wants to mock us." They came back and whispered to him, "Come, be serious and reach something out to us." Then Tom Thumb again cried as loudly as he could, "I really will give you everything. Just put your hands in." The maid, who was listening, heard this quite distinctly and jumped out of bed and rushed to the door. The thieves took flight and ran as if the wild huntsmen were behind them, but as the maid could not see anything, she went to strike a light. When she came to the place with it, Tom Thumb, unperceived, betook himself to the granary, and the maid, after she had examined every corner and found nothing, lay down in her bed again and believed that, after all, she had only been dreaming with open eyes and ears. Tom Thumb had climbed among the hay and found a beautiful place to sleep in. There he intended to rest until day, and then go home again to his parents. But he had other things to go through. Surely there's much affliction and misery in this world. When day dawned, the maid arose from her bed to feed the cows. Her first walk was into the barn, where she laid hold of an armful of hay. Precisely that very one in which poor Tom Thumb was lying asleep. He, however, was sleeping so soundly that he was aware of nothing, and did not awake until he was in the mouth of the cow, who had picked him up with the hay. "Oh, heavens!" cried he. "How have I got into the fulling wheel?" But he soon discovered where he was. Then it was necessary to be careful not to let himself go between the teeth and be dismembered, but he was nevertheless forced to slip down into the stomach with the hay. In this little room the windows are forgotten," said he, "and no sun shines in, neither will a candle be brought." His quarters were especially unpleasing to him, and the worst was more and more hay was always coming in by the door, and the space grew less and less. Then at length, in his anguish, he cried as loud as he could, "Bring me no more fodder! Bring me no more fodder!" The maid was just milking the cow, and when she heard someone speak and saw no one, and perceived that it was the same voice that she had heard in the night. She was so terrified that she slipped off her stool and spilt the milk. She ran in great haste to her master and said, "Oh heavens, pastor, the cow has been speaking." "Thou art mad," replied the pastor, but he went himself to the byre to see what was there. Hardly, however, had he set his foot inside when Tom Thumb again cried, "Bring me no more fodder! Bring me no more fodder!" Then the pastor himself was alarmed and thought that an evil spirit had gone into the cow and ordered her to be killed. She was killed, but the stomach in which Tom Thumb was thrown in the midden. Tom Thumb had great difficulty in working his way. However, he succeeded so far as to get some room. But just as he was going to thrust his head out, a new misfortune occurred. A hungry wolf ran thither and swallowed the whole stomach in one gulp. Tom Thumb did not lose courage. Perhaps, he thought, the wolf will listen to what I have got to say. And he called to him from out his stomach, "Dear wolf, I know of a magnificent feast for thee." "Where is it to be had?" said the wolf. "In such and such a house. Thou must creep into it through the kitchen sink, and wilt find cakes and bacon and sausages, as much as them as thou canst eat." And he described to him exactly his father's house. The wolf did not require to be told twice. The wolf did not require to be told this twice. He squeezed himself in at night through the sink and ate to his heart's content in the larder. When he had eaten his fill, he wanted to go out again, but he had become so big that he could not go out by the same way. Tom Thumb had reckoned on this, and now began to make a violent noise in the wolf's body, and raged and screamed as loudly as he could. "Wilt thou be quiet?" said the wolf. "Wilt thou waken up the people?" "Wilt thou be quiet?" said the wolf. "Thou wilt waken up the people." "Eh, what?" cried the little fellow. "Thou hast eaten thy fill, and I will make you merry likewise," and began once more to scream with all his strength. At last his father and mother were aroused by it, and ran to the room and looked in through the opening in the door. When they saw that a wolf was inside, they ran away, and the husband fetched his axe, and the wife the scythe. "Stay behind," said the man when they entered the room. "When I have given him a blow, if he is not killed by it, thou must cut him down and hew his body to pieces." Then Tom Thumb heard his parents' voices and cried, "Dear father, I am here. I am in the wolf's body." Said the father, full of joy, "Thank God, our dear child has found us again," and bade the woman take her scythe, that Tom Thumb might not be hurt with it. And bade the woman take away her scythe, that Tom Thumb might not be hurt with it. After that he raised his arm and struck the wolf such a blow on his head that he fell down dead, and then they got knives and scissors and cut his body open and drew the little fellow forth. "Ah," said the father, "what sorrow we have gone through for thy sake." "Yes, father, I have gone about the world a great deal. Thank heavens, I breathe fresh air again." "Where hast thou been then?" "Ah, father, I have been inside a mouse's hole, in a cow's stomach, and then in a wolf's. Now I'll stay with you." "And we will not sell thee again. No, not for all the riches in the world," said his parents, and they embraced and kissed their dear Tom Thumb. They gave him to eat and to drink, and had some new clothes made for him, for his own had been spoiled in his journey. That was a nice ending. That was a bit messed up, but that was a nice ending. Ooh. Right. Yes, no, maybe. Yeah. We finally got a good ending. Okay. That was a nice ending. Half normal story, the most incredible so far. He went on a journey and betrayed everyone he met. I think that's the wrong person at first. So my friend just has a yes sent to them. Where shall we go? Where shall we go? Okay, that was loud, sorry. My friend is trying to make me eat food. Have you not eaten? Have you not eaten? Oh, there's someone playing coffee talk. Then eat. I'll make you eat food. There's someone playing coffee talk right now. I don't know where to go. Show me. I'll force feed you. I'll force feed you. I'll pin you down. Hold your nose so you open your mouth. And then force food down your mouth. Down your throat. Yum 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 yum. Yum 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 yum. You don't know where I live. I'll reach through the screen. I'll reach through the screen and go. Yeah. Don't need to open mouth to breathe. Okay. Like I'll pinch your nose so you can't breathe. That's what I mean. Let's look at art. Don't need my nose. Pinching your nose so you are forced to open your mouth to breathe. That's what I mean. You're not the first to try that way. Fine, I'll shove my fingers up your nose. They go up, and you'll be forced to open your mouth. Hi, Alfie. We are not promoting violence here. Booger fingers. Hey, homie. I'm sorry you had to come into that. We're very normal. I'm just trying to find someone to raid. I don't know. I don't know. Booger fingers. Oh? Wait. Maybe, yeah, I am. I need to pee and I need to sleep because of pain. Yes, exactly. I'll be here tomorrow. Thank you for hanging out. We're gonna raid this person. They're doing an art tour because she's trying to make me eat. Great time. Great time. Liana, BT, they're drawing, doing EP merch grind. Oh, it's not working. Oh no, my thing's bugged out again. Oh no, okay, fine. But not shout out, raid. So follow, subscribe only. Oh, come on. Oh, why? Why? Come on. Yes. Oh, it's in progress already. As well, thank you. No, I typed the wrong thing. And it was already in progress. It doesn't show up on my stupid OBS. Nothing's working today. My bot's not working, but say hi to them. Nothing's working.